Planet Vero Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Growing Old Fearlessly. I am your host, Julie, and this is the show in which we talk about navigating the process of growing old one day at a time. I want to start today's show by thanking Evergreen Media for making this show possible for it to go out to you. This is the largest podcasting studio on the Treasure Coast. And if you want to know anything else, you can contact the ladies at Evergreen Media through their website, egreenmedia.com. And today's show, we're going to be talking about fathers. And all of you have heard me talk about my dad, and my dad has been here in the studio with me. You know that he is my inspiration. He is my hero. And so today we're talking all about fathers. My guest in the studio is Lou. And Lou is the owner of Chive, Green Marlin, and Rosie's here in Vero Beach. Welcome, Lou. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
So we all know that Lou is a local guy right here in Vero Beach. And I brought him in today because he is just as much inspired by his father as I am by mine. Mine is still here. Yours is not. But we want to talk about some of the good times that you had with your dad. So let's start. First of all, I have a quote that I found in lovetoknow.com, and it says, "Even the best dads make mistakes, but there is no mistaking their love for their children." And I think that you feel that way. We were just chatting a little bit before the show started, and you were already saying so many nice things about your dad. Tell me, you recently added a tiki bar over at Green Marlin. And I believe it's called Max's Tiki. Yep. And of course, your dad's name was Max.
Yes.
Why did you name it after your dad?
Well, you know, my dad and I, we had restaurants in the past. We worked together buying and selling houses. That was, I mean, to me, it was logical. It fit. Number one, it's a good name, Max's Tiki. It sounds like somewhere I want to go. But yeah, it was really, actually the name Green Marlin I had for a long time too. So these things almost feel natural when they come about. But yeah, I didn't even consider any other names. It was one and only.
I remember going to Green Marlin and sitting down to dinner with my husband, and your father was a huge presence there.
Yeah.
Was this because he wanted to help you out, or was it he just needed a place to be busy?
It's who he is. You know, that hospitality. We talk about it a lot with my management staff and my, the hourly staff about how it's different. Hospitality is different than running a business. Like, you have to make the money, yes, but hospitality is, if you came to my house, I'd get you a drink and I'd make you something to eat. That's the way I want you to feel at the Marlin and Chive and Rosie's. That's the way my dad treated everybody. So if you met him once, you had a friend. And it's, you have that in you or you don't. I've had, other careers, and I've always come back to hospitality because it's fulfilling for me. And I get that from him, for sure. He had that in him. He loved it.
All right. So what, obviously your dad has passed. He passed, like 4 years ago?
Yeah, February 2019.
And what wisdom did your dad pass on to you? How does he inspire you today?
He had a lot of great qualities. My dad, went to the University of Maryland. He was he was a very good combination of somebody that was smart mathematically, which I'm not, and creative and be able to build stuff too. So I'm glad I got a little bit of that. I didn't get the full math that he had. I think his degree was in economics. So he loved math. I did not love math, but I learned to love the math that I need for what we do in the restaurant business. But yeah, he was an inspiration to me because he always led me to believe that I could do whatever I wanted to do. I never felt when I was growing up that I couldn't do whatever I wanted. Mm-hmm. And with the full support of my mom and dad, no matter how crazy my idea was, like, remember when I told my dad about the Green Marlin, and, you know, we had Chive already, you know, much smaller venue. Green Marlin was a big job, you know, taking over that size of rent, that size building, you know, the staff that it takes to get in there and pay that staff. Mm-hmm. And my dad told me, he's like, did you run the numbers? I said, I did. I ran them over and over and over. And I said, even if I had to bartend and cook at the same time, I could make this work. And that was it. We're done talking about it. Let's do it. So teaching me that, yeah, you're going to having fear is good. Going over everything, making sure that you know everything that you're going to run into, hopefully you can kind of predict a little bit of it. But after that, you don't worry about it anymore. That decision has been made. So worrying about it or fearing what's going to happen is over. So let's get to work and do it. And he was there every day with me, even though he wasn't in good shape. His body wasn't in good shape. He was in there sanding tables with me, building the artwork, tearing stuff down. Mm-hmm. It was amazing to have him there. I didn't know it was going to be the last restaurant we ever built together, but I'm glad that we had that time. And we took 5.5 months in there together, wow. Being creative, like coming up with different kinds of art. All the processes that you need to do when you build a restaurant, we did that together. Mm-hmm. So, you know, his presence is strong in that restaurant. It really is.
That is great. So even though his mind had all these mathematical equations in it, yeah. He actually taught you how to work with your hands.
Yeah, we built a lot of stuff together.
Because I remember, like, when you first opened up, you had some of the wooden carvings that mm-hmm. you guys did together, correct?
Yeah, we built all the shutters in there, all out of the reclaimed wood that we grabbed. We used to grab pallets from all over town and break them down and make them into tables and artwork. I like the look, but also it's frugal. My dad taught me how to be frugal too, and we opened that restaurant on a very small budget. And that was good because you need to save your money for operating costs. The mistake a lot of places make is they spend all their money up front, then they think they're going to make the money right away and they open their doors. Well, it takes 2 to 3 years to build a clientele that, you know, can support a restaurant.
Right. So other than the business and all that, what did you guys, when you were growing up, what did you guys do for fun, you and your dad?
My dad and I played a lot of golf. So we worked together. You know, after I graduated college, I came back. We opened a restaurant in Fort Pierce, but it was only open till 2:00. So a lot of times we were right out the door at 2 in Fort Pierce, and we were on the golf course by 2:30. Sometimes we went in the morning, and the golf course actually came to the back of the restaurant, so we could drive the golf cart, check on them, and then keep golfing. But I remember the conversations we had about life as we were playing golf, and him being supportive, and him trying to calm me down and being not a great golfer, but we shared that passion. He wasn't a good golfer at all either. For somebody that, you know, really was good at a lot of things, he wasn't good. I'm not that good, but he still wanted to play all the time.
Well, that is great, because I mean that gave you that time that you spent together, and that now you can you know, think back to it, and you have great memories with your dad. Yeah,
vivid memories of conversations we had about, you know, whatever was going on in my life at the time. We discussed on the golf course.
So you mentioned the college, you know, that you started doing that after college. What college did you go to?
I went to the University of Florida.
Chomp, chomp.
Yep. Go
Gators. Just had to give it a plug. You know that. So tell me, did you have a tradition or a hobby that your dad passed on to you?
I mean, besides the golf, we built stuff together. And, you know, I think we maybe about 10 or 12 houses that we flipped. When we had the restaurant, we were also flipping houses. That was, I guess my dad also taught me never to sit still because we always had something going on. And, you know, we were running the breakfast restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I bartended at TGI Fridays at night, and we were flipping houses. It was a lot. You know, we're talking about 90 hours a week. But
wow.
It taught me that you have to work hard. If you want to get somewhere, you got to work hard, and it'll pay off. And he taught me that. When I bought my first house, I bought a house on the water in Fort Pierce that I couldn't afford, but he was like, "You can do this," and I did, and I held it for a couple of years, and I sold it for a nice profit. That kind of springboarded me into buying more houses and really helped for the future. But I remember looking back at my dad, and you know, he built the house that we lived in Hope Sound. My dad had never built a house before. So I remember being younger and thinking like, I can't build a house. How do you build a house? And when you don't know when you've never built anything before, that didn't bother him. He did it by himself on the weekends. It took him a year and a half. And I remember going there and helping him do whatever little things I could do there. I was, I think, 9 or 10 years old at the time. Uh-huh. But now I understand that life is you accomplish things and you get better, and then you get the confidence and do something bigger. So he taught me that. Like, you're talking about a guy that didn't do that, mm-hmm. was, you know, a college guy, had his own business, and said, I'm going to build my family a house. So that always impressed me. And now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, I can build a house now. Like that kind of, like, you just go in life and you do things, and sometimes you fail a little bit, but at the end of the day, you gain confidence and you move on to something bigger. So like Chive, smaller, than Green Marlin, a lot bigger. So I would have never gone to Green Marlin first. Mm-hmm. That would have been, you know, too much. I didn't have the confidence to do that until I proved to myself that I can do this venue, this smaller venue. Like, let me try a bigger venue.
That is, you're saying all this, and I'm thinking it's a great legacy that your father has left you, and yeah. It's that wisdom to know when you can or cannot do something. And also the determination to, if you don't know how to get it done, learn how to do it, yeah. And then go do it. That is great. Lou, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be coming right back.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Ralph Winook with Dale Sorensen Real Estate and ResidentialRalph.com. When you're interested in buying or selling a home, contact me. As your agent, I will work nonstop to ensure that your buying or selling experience is smooth and stress-free. I will be there for you at every stage of the process to answer your questions and help you make an informed decision. So, why wait? Contact me, Ralph Winook, and schedule a consultation with me today. Visit ResidentialRalph.com. That's right, ResidentialRalph.com.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal, Four Seasons, and Capri. We also have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington with styles designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. We're having a summer sale with lots of great markdowns, including all in-stock Lloyd Flanders 25% off. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach, next to Planet Fitness. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet and sales store directly across the street, and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture brightens up your day. Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Ooh, have a sunshine day. Sunshine Furniture.
Advertising is essential. You've got to make people aware that you're there. We can do that with a cohesive marketing campaign from Evergreen Media. Based on your business goals, we'll create a mix of digital advertising on social media sites like Facebook, video advertising on streaming sites like Hulu and Paramount Plus, and supplement them with local TV and radio ads. Build awareness, educate, and inform the public with a cohesive marketing campaign by Evergreen Media. Check out egreenmedia.com or search online for Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Welcome back to Growing Old Fearlessly. I'm your host, Julie, and I want to thank my sponsor for this show. He makes it possible. It's Ralph Wanook. He is with Dale Sorensen Real Estate. If you need to reach him, he can be reached through his website, residentialralph.com. I want to add to that, yes, Ralph happens to be my husband, and he is also a father. And one of the reasons that he and I came together when we did is because I met him with his 2 daughters, and he was incredible. He has huge family values, and he's been a great stepdad to my children as well. So if you need to buy or sell a home, please reach out to Ralph, residentialralph.com. So here we are with Lou today. He is the owner of Chive, Green Marlin, and Rosie's. And we didn't mention that you also have a catering business, correct?
Well, we do catering through Chive. I used to have another catering business with a partner, and we split, and I gave him the catering side. But yeah, we're getting back into it. It takes a lot to cater because usually it takes me, because I'm real particular about how we get things out, and if I'm doing a wedding, I don't want to mess somebody's day up. So if I'm there, pretty much, I know everything's going to go right because I'm there.
Good. And that's one of the things that your dad taught you. Your dad gave you that determination to be the best at what you do. And I think that you are definitely achieving that. So we've been talking about your dad. His name was Max. And I wanted to find out about his sense of humor. Like, how did he bring a sense of humor maybe when he was having a challenge?
He was always laughing. He had a good time. When we found out that he had cancer, it was a tough time, but he still showed up every day and joked with the staff and played around. Even when when he lost his hair, we had to shave his head. Everybody gathered around him, and he really played it off because he felt like the Terminator. He felt like he was, it was a good situation. He made it a little less scary to see what was going on, but I know that he was scared. So to be able to have a smile on your face when you know that the prognosis isn't good, because he had lung cancer, then went to the brain, so there was not a good ending to that story.
Right. However, you were telling me before we started our show today that you've had some signs that have given you some hope.
Yeah. No, I've had a couple. But I don't feel like he's gone after some of the things. He's shown me things that only like somebody that was absolutely trying to prove to you that they could communicate with you and not be here. He's done that a couple times. So after that, and I actually called my mom the next morning after it happened, and I told her, and she was blown away because she knew it too. So I mean, it was a crazy situation.
Wow. So you said he was diagnosed and he passed within 4 months, something like 4 that.
Months, yeah.
It seems to me like sometimes people, there's no like right way of saying it. Like you're sad because it was so fast, but then if it was something that took so long, you would also be sad because it took so long for something. So. Yeah. I feel that things happen the way they do because that's just how they're meant to be.
Well, it's to watch a man that was so strong and that could do everything, just in the short time that the cancer hit him, it really kind of destroyed his body. And I didn't want him to be fearful. So the fact that it was pretty quick, it was good that it happened because there was no good outcome. We talked to the doctors. You can prolong it a little bit. It's just going to be more pain, and the end result's going to be the same. So go out with a little bit of dignity. And he went into hospice, and I think he was in hospice for several days. But it was hard. But I didn't want him to be afraid. So the fact that hospice does a great job. I never had any experience with them before. But that's an extraordinary job for somebody to do. To deal with the pain that families go through and to do it the way they do was amazing, because there's a lot of things I didn't know about death until until I had to go through that with my dad. But it's another lesson that he taught me. This is how you do it.
Yeah. So is there a specific moment or conversation that you had with your dad that you think about often?
I think about the golf course. I think about the times when I had problems or when things weren't going great, and talking to him about them. And I can remember what golf course. I can remember standing on the tee and giving him, getting that feedback from whatever it was. Those stick out more than almost anything. Sometimes I remember the things like I remember when I was young, I kicked a hole in the wall at the house that he built. I remember that day clearly.
I want to know. Okay, so you kicked a hole in the wall, how did he react to that?
Well, I kicked a hole in the wall, and my mom was just in the driveway about to leave. I had my soccer cleats on, so I was obviously wanted to go do something. And then I ran out to the driveway, and I stopped my mom. I was like, I did something really bad, and she came in and she's like, your dad built this house, and he didn't get home for hours. I waited out there for hours for him to come home. And when he finally came home, he didn't yell, he didn't scream, he sat me down and he just said, I worked so hard to build this house for you guys, and you did that. And he didn't have to do anything else. I was done. But him and I, after that, we fixed it.
Did you fix it
together? We patched the hole in the wall. So talking about a guy that went all the way to the life lessons, but, could have gotten mad and slapped me or done something. I'd probably deserved it. But he wasn't that kind of guy. And what he taught me was, I still remember that, is that guilt that I felt that, he did this for us, and out of my little spat of anger, I ruined something that he built for us. So I never did that again.
That is
good lesson.
It's a great lesson. And then what you've ended up doing afterwards in your grown life is
the stuff that we did afterwards and building. It started. I watched my dad. He wanted new cabinets, but he didn't want to pay for them, so he built new cabinets from scratch at the house in Hope Sound. So
wow,
that kind of thing. Like, you want something? Yeah, maybe you have the money for it, maybe you don't, but we can do this. And this was before YouTube or anything. Like, I can go on YouTube and find out almost how to build anything. This was in the 80s. You just had to figure it out. Right. It's so much different now.
So he had some knowledge. He had never done it before, but he taught you, hey, we can do this together.
Absolutely. You can do whatever you want.
That is great. How did, I don't know what kind of perspective or approach to aging your father had, but how has his perspective of growing older affect or taught you how to deal with your own?
Well, he had an accident when he was in his mid 50s that ended up paralyzing him partially. So, watching what he went through, number one, the operations that he had, it'll make me very leery if I have to have an operation and what I choose to do with that, because he made that decision at 55 years old, and we never played golf again. So whatever happened in the surgery, whoever's fault it was, it ruined the rest of his life physically. So taking care of myself and making sure that I put myself in the right situation, even though a doctor may say this is the right reason, it may not be the right way to go, because, again, what would his life been different if we would have gone down a different path?
Right.
Should not play golf again, and like I said, how important it was. Mm-hmm. After that surgery, we never played, and he never played golf again.
Wow. Well, one thing we know for sure, fathers have shaped us and they have helped us be who we are today. Mm-hmm. My dad and we actually enjoy going to Max's Tiki, and it's one of our favorite places to go. We like to sit at the picnic table. I can wheel my dad in the wheelchair there very easily, and we love it. Let's end the show with some words from George Strait. He says, daddies don't just love their children every now and then. It's a love without end. Yep. And our Father's love will never end. Not for you, not for me. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. It was a show about fathers. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. We'll see you next week.